Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Welcome to this video, guys. My name is Liaqat Zaman, and by now you guys know my name very well. Even when I'm sometimes giving a talk or something now and I say my name is Liaqat Zaman, it's just I have flashbacks of me making a video for you guys. Well, that's life, I suppose. So this is another poem from Umar Bin Abi Rabiya, the famous Tabi'i poet in the time of the Banu Umayyah. He was praised by many people at that time, including famous companions of the Prophet ﷺ, such as Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu, Ibn Mas'ud radiallahu anhu. So this is a guy whose poetry is considered to be acceptable by them. Therefore, it's something which should interest us as well. And because he was in the era which was basically kind of, you can say, era of acceptable Arabic. So where the Arabic was considered to be a very good level that you could accept it for understanding the Quran and other texts at that time. Therefore, we've got to study his poetry. Now, like I said before, he is the king of Ghazal. He is the pioneer of Ghazal, which is poetry that describes women and romance. But the thing about him is that he doesn't go into too much. He doesn't go into vulgar things. So he doesn't mention things which are obscene, right? So that's the good thing about him. And in today's poetry, we're going to see a bit of that description today as well. Alright, so let's break down these words in. Al-Khaliط means someone that you mix with, right? Someone that you live with, someone that you share things with, like khalata, to mix things together. It's called the Khaliط, right? So that's khalata, Khaliط, the ones that mixes with khalt. And then الذي tahwa, we've done this before, hawiya yahwa, to fall in love with someone. I'tamaru, it means to make a decision, to come to an amr, a ruling. Bain means separation. Ujiddu is from ajadda yujiddu, which means to be serious about something. Bain, we done that. Ibtakaru, it means to do something early in the morning. Ibtakar, or it actually means to do something which no one has done before, unprecedented. Banat, again we done that. Bain. Gharba, it actually means to go distant, far away. Gharib, right? It's called a gharbatun. Yeah, so gharb is called the west, and it was known as a place that was strange. So gharbatun is distant. Darina is our home. Qadhfun, it means to throw something far, right? So throw something far, qadhf. And when you say this person has gone very far, you can say like he's gone like a stone's throw away. He's gone very far away. Mazar, it means a place that is visited frequently. A tourist site, you can say a mazar. And sometimes people's graves are called mazars as well because people visit them. Mahzoon is, that we've done this word before many times, sad person. Asir, it means someone who is in difficulty or something that is very hard. وَكُنْتُ أَكْمَيْتُ خَوْفًا. Alright, so أَكْمَيْتُ is أَكْمَى يُكْمِي إِكْمَى, which means to conceal, to hide, to not disclose. Khawf, it means fear. Firaq, separation. Asbahu, to become. Billadhi akmaytu qad jaharu. Akmaytu has come before. Jaharu means to make something public or audible or allowed, right? Jahar, opposite of. Israr, opposite of akmaytu here. Banu means they became separated. Now bi, this is preposition, and harkawlatin. So harkawla is actually a description of a woman. It's a specific description, and this is someone, thank you very much for pointing this out to me. There's actually a description of a woman's body shape, which is large, and you can Google this yourselves. It's called buxom. It's a buxom shape. So harkula is where the body, the flesh on the body is large, and you can actually see in the walking. So when a woman normally walks, you won't be able to tell, but if she is of a certain size, in her walking, you can tell by the way that her body moves. That's called harkawla. So when she reaches that level, you can see in her walking, you call it harkawla. Fa'am. Okay, harkawla is to do with the hips as well. Harkawla, fa'am means large. Yeah. So, like wide, large, fat, big. Mu'azzar is the place where the belt is tied. So, normally the women have like a dress and then have a belt, or maybe mu'azzar refers to like the izar that people have, and the way they tie it just around maybe just below the navel, that kind of area. So that's called the waist band. كأنها تحت سجف. So sijf is like a cover, so a veil. Al-qubba is a kind of tent, right? So covering a tent. Al-qamar, it means the moon, right? So qamar is the moon. Hayfa is a specific description of a woman as well. So it's where the woman's abdomen, belly is fairly flat. So it's not like huge coming out, right? So when we say flat, we don't mean like, six pack. In them days, their understanding would be different. So it being flat would mean that it's not like obese fat. So it's not obese. So that's what they mean by when they say hayfa. So hayfa woman is a woman whose belly is like toned, you can say. But not in today's terms, toned. Like today's terms, it would mean like something six pack or flat. It means there's something there, but it's reasonably flat. Qabba is again description of a woman's body, which is to do with her upper thighs. So the upper thighs, the buttocks area. A woman who is qabba, she has a toned thigh. So in other words, they're not like hanging, but she's large, but they're toned and round. Okay, this kind of description. Again, sometimes some people listen to this and they think to themselves, how is it possible that a poet could say these kind of things? And would this be valid? I mean, is this morally right for a poet to talk about a woman's? So the scholars have discussed this. And they have mentioned that as long as you're not describing a particular woman, like a specific woman, right, everyone knows her and you're describing her, that's not allowed. That wouldn't be allowed. But if it's an imaginary woman that no one knows about and the poet's just talking about, which the poets normally do this kind of thing anyway, then there's permissibility for it. Masqula, it means polished, right? So polished, like, it's to do with the skin basically. So when a woman's skin is very polished, like smooth, very smooth. Awarid is jam of arida, which actually means the upper part of the cheeks. Right? So, for example, like here, mine, you can see this area. So I don't really have awarid. Some people have very high cheekbones, right? And they're very smooth, especially for the woman. That would be considered to be a sign of beauty as well in them days. Now, these signs of beauty, by the way, they can change from generation to generation, from country, from part of the world. It doesn't necessarily mean that the same things that they saw as beauty in the woman has to be the same thing that every man sees as beauty. Okay, asra. Now, asra, it can mean two things. One, it can mean something which is a woman who is very difficult. But the other meaning is left-handed. All right, so left-handed. So the man is called A'sar. So like, for example, some famous Umar radiallahu anhu was considered to be A'sar. He used to use his left hand for things. And a woman is called Asra. Right? In the takabbi. Now, I looked up this word takabbi and I couldn't really find much in the dictionaries about the word takabbi. So I checked in other versions of this poem and I found actually there's another word that's used, which is at-ta'abbi. Ta'abbi, which actually means someone who's very stubborn. Abiyun, right? Very stubborn. They're not very kind of like, helpful or responsive, you can say, is the ta'abbi. So in one version of this poem, it's actually asra'a in the ta'abbi. Now, I actually, in one of the books I use for this, in the footnotes, actually, it does say takabbi, and then it says takabbi means inkibab, which means to be on something, and I'll explain that meaning as well. So tajtamiru, it means to use jamra, right? To use bakhur. Many people know bakhur. You can get them now. It's kind of trend now where people just burn coal and put some piece of wood on there, and it gives a fragrance in the house. And they use it in mosques as well. This is called ijtimar. Yeah, tajtamiru, tajammar. So, and they used to use it to fragrance their bodies as well. So a woman would usually use it for when she finished her period, basically. She would put it on the ground and then she would sit over it, or not sit over it, like sit, but like over her dress, and then all of her body would start smelling, and the husband would know that now she's out of her menstrual period, and she can have relations. Takadu min thiql al-ardh. Now thiql means heavy, and ardaf means buttocks, right? So the upper thigh area, the flesh there, is called the ardaf, the buttocks that we call the buttocks. Nahada means to get up. So you're sitting down and you get up, you say nahad. إلى الصلاة, salat is prayer. بعيد means fairly far, not far. بعيد is far. بعيد is تصغير. It's like a little far. A little far. Busr is actually the water that collects when it rains. So the rainwater, small amount of water that collects. They call it the busr. Right, so you can call it water. And tanbatiru is from the word batar. Like in the Quran it comes, inna shani'aka abtar, the cut off one. Right, so when something snaps or breaks, they say in batar. Right, to break off, to snap because of sheer weight. Tajlu, jala, yajlu, it means for something to become clear, something to become clean, bright. You know, you like when there's something that's your windscreen is dirty, and then you kind of get a cloth and you wipe it with something and it becomes clear, and you say jala yajlu. Right, so miswak is a toothbrush. Ghurran is actually white. Yeah, ghur is actually bright white. Ghur, and it's usually refers to the patches on horses when they have like patches on their face. You call it ghur, aghar. Yeah, ghur. And mufallaja this is another description of beauty in women, which was basically in between the teeth. Right, so for example, like if you look at my teeth, so my teeth are kind of fairly straight at the top. But some people have teeth where there's like slight little gaps in between. Some people have teeth which are all connected together, and it all just looks like, you know, when you see those elderly people and they've got those false teeth, right? And you can tell they're all false because they're all, you know, perfectly straight. There's no gaps in between. So they never used to like that in teeth. They used to like slight gaps, right? So it was called mufallaja. So this is the thing that the Prophet ﷺ, he prohibited, was people deliberately used to kind of make gaps in between their teeth. They used to file them in between. That was prohibited. So fallaj means a gap. Mufallaja means a woman who has these naturally gaps in between her teeth. And uqhuwan is actually the name of a flower which has these kind of petals. I mean, I don't know what it's called in English. Have you ever seen these flowers which are yellow in the middle and it has these white petals like going around like a sun? Right, white petals. Okay, uqhuwan. Shafa yashifu. Yeah, it means to become clear, to make something clear, clean. Matar means rain. Okay, so matar is rain. Okay, so I think we've covered all that. So let's look at this point. إن الخليط الذي تحوى قد ائتمروا بالبين ثم أجد البين فابتكروا بانت بهم غربة عن دارنا قذف فيها مزار لمحزون بهم عسر وكنت أكميت خوفا من فراقهم فأصبحوا بالذي أكميت قد جهروا بانوا بحركولة فعم مؤزرها كأنها تحت سجف القبة القمر حيفاء قباء مسقولة أواردها عسراء عند التكبي حين تجتمر تكاد من ثقل الأرداف إن نهضت إلى الصلاة بعيد البسر تنبتر تجلو بمسواكها غرا مفلجة كأنها أقحوان شافه مطر. Alright, so that's the poem, guys. Now, what's this poem about? So basically there's a guy, he used to live with this woman, and basically he's talking about Umar. And this woman was his like best buddy, Khaleet, like they were mixed together, right? Whether it was permissible relationship or impermissible, that's not here, yeah? But he's just saying, and he used to love her a lot. Then what happened was, her family have decided now that they're going to leave and go off. So this has really upset him now. And what they've done, they've actually gone earlier than the time that they were supposed to go. Right? So he says, Inna al-Khaleet, indeed the one that was very close, the one that was mixed, the best friend, best buddy, الذي تحوى, who used to love. Yeah, الذي تحوى, the one that used to love. قد ائتمروا بالبين. They have definitely indeed had decided to made a decision to leave Bain. ثم أجد البين, and then that Bain was made, you know, it was kind of made concrete, it was made certain. فابتكروا, and so they left early. Right, so ibtikar, bakr, it means to go early. Then he says, now she's gone now, yeah? So this woman, he's not mentioned what her name is. So she's gone. He says, بانت بهم غربة عن دارنا. So بانت بهم غربة. غربة has gone, has separated. بانت بهم غربة. So غربة meaning being strange, strangeness has separated them from our homes. Like in other words, they used to live in our homes yesterday, and now they've gone. It's like strangeness has separated them from us now. And what kind of strangeness is this? So بانت بهم غربة عن دارنا قذف فيها. So it's قذف فيها. So in that dar قذف, it's as though there is nothing there from it. It's been thrown away. قذف يقذف. So قذف, it's a غربة that is قذف فيها. مزار لمحزون. So this home now, so these people have decided now to go, yeah? He's in love with her, he's infatuated with her. And now they have left, right? And like we said, their departure was very earlier than he anticipated, expected. And what they've left behind is this emptiness now. Because them leaving, this is called the gharba, as in the kind of strangeness that they've fallen into. بانت بهم غربة عن دارنا, from our homes. قذف فيها. So قذف فيها. So in other words, it's like the gharbatun has thrown away that kind of comfort that they used to feel. مزار لمحزون بهم عسر. So now this place has become a mazar, a place of visiting, and the only person that's going to visit is Umar, obviously, no one else. مزار لمحزون. And this place has become the mazar for sad people, him. So every time he comes to this house, he remembers her, he feels tears and emotions, and he lets it all out. So it's become the mazar, the visiting place, the tourist attraction for sad people, i.e. him. Bihim asirun. So bihim asirun. In other words, it can be mahzun bihim, sad with them, and it's asirun, extremely difficult, very hard upon him. The ghurba is extremely asir. Asir, it means like usra, just like in the Quran. When Allah says, Inna ma'al usri yusr. Usr means something which is very difficult, the opposite of ease, hardship, you can say. And a lot of these words, as you can see, come in the Quran. For example, Khaleet, khulata comes in the Quran. Khaleet doesn't come in the Quran, but the jama, khulata. Inna al-khulata la yabghi ba'duhum ala ba'd. Tahwa comes in the Quran. Tahwa anfus. I'tamara, ya'tamiruna. Ya'tamiruna comes in the Quran as well. Bain, bana, in the Quran. Ibtikar, tabtakir, not ibtikar, but from the word bakar. Banat, okay, we mentioned that. Ghurba, gharib, ghurba. Mahzun, huzun comes in the Quran. Asir comes in the Quran. So a lot of these words come in the Quran. So when you study these poems, you get a more clear, refined understanding of what the Quran is saying. Okay, so he's saying that this is like thrown away. قذف فيها مزار and it can even be فيها مزار لمحزون. So this can be said in various ways, by the way. So when you're saying poetry, it's like there's various ways you can say, and this is one of the kind of unique sort of like features of Arabic you don't get in English. And this is something which is also in the Quran as well. Like for instance, like in Surah Yusuf, Allah says, الآن حصحص الحق. Like in the Surah Yusuf, that when he says, now the truth has become clear. الآن حصحص. You can read it like this as well. You can say, now the truth has become apparent. Or you can even say, now it's become apparent. الحق أنا راودته عن نفسه. Truth is that I was the one that, tried to make him flirt with me. So it's like there's various ways that it can be said, and it doesn't contradict each other. That's the good thing. Anyway, so andarina, so قذف فيها مزار. In it there's a mazar, you can say. لمحزون, for a mahzun. بهم عسر. وكنت أكميت خوفا من فراقهم. And I had before concealed fear of their separation. So even though they were there in the back of my mind, I was had this fear, you know what? One day they're going to leave, one day they're going to leave, one day they're going to leave. And I had this fear and I was concealing it, hiding it. فأصبحوا بالذي أكميت قد جحروا. So this secret that I had kept inside of me, what had happened? They had made that apparent now. قد جحروا, had made it apparent. And now it's like everyone knows the secret I had inside of me. Because how do they know? Because I kept visiting their house and I kept talking about the occupants, or especially the woman. So كنت أكميت خوفا من فراقهم, I had concealed fear from their separation. فأصبحوا بالذي أكميت, so it became that the thing that I had concealed قد جهروا, they had made it apparent. Okay, and next, بانوا بهركولة. Now all of this now is talking about the woman. Now this the last part, this last 4 couplets talking about the woman. So who is this woman? We're kind of getting a glimpse into her now. He's not telling us her name. He's just telling her descriptions that he remembers of her. And that's obviously describing her beauty. So he's saying banat, right? So it's banu, they separated, they went, they left, they departed. Who did they depart with? Biharkaulatin, with a woman who was large in her body size. She was very, very attractive and beautiful. And in them days, she had like the perfect body. Harkaulatin. So her body was very big, and when she used to walk, you can tell that her body, what's the word for it? Is it the word the limbs move? I don't know. You guys might know this better than me. So he says, "Banu bi harkaulatin fa'min mu'azzaruha." In other words, it's like she's not skinny, because skinny, like basically the size of a typical woman of today, like they kind of show on the media and all that, the ideal woman of today, that wasn't considered beautiful. So that shaped body wasn't considered beautiful. So having the waist belt that could be tied, and you can tell, right, the waist belt you can tell the body shape when it was tied. That was called fa'min mu'azzaruha. So fa'am mu'azzaruha fa'mun. That's basically how it is. It's like the sifa has been brought forward and it's made into a masdar, and then that's been made into the fa'il of it. كأنها تحت السجف القبة. She's so beautiful that underneath a qubba, underneath like a semi-tent, qubba is like a semi-tent. Underneath a semi-tent, she's like the moon. That's how beautiful she looks. So the moon is like a round, and kind of like, the shape of it, and all the colors and all that, the shape, the brightness of the moon. It's all describing her. Hayfa'a, right? So like we said, hayfa'a. Her abdomen is like relatively flat, not like flat of today, like we said 6-pack, but it's relatively flat, not obese. Qabba'a, and we said qabba' means the thighs as well. Toned thighs, rounded thighs. Masqulati awariduha, her awarid, her cheeks, her very smooth high cheekbones she has. Aridatun. Asra, left-handed, in the takabbi, like we said. So takabbi can mean that when she basically, she did bakhur, she used to have it in such a way that she would, at that time, I don't know, maybe he's describing her using her left hand or something. I wasn't able to kind of figure out why he's mentioning the left hand, unless that was considered a beautiful thing at that time, or that she'd be able to use her left hand whilst holding the bakhur under her dress, to make herself smell nice. Or it could be asra in the ta'abbi. It could mean this is what she was very difficult and very like hard to kind of like to get, and at the time when being stubborn. That could be a good meaning as well. It's very difficult. She's like kind of, she knew that she was liked, but what it was basically, she was kind of made it difficult for herself to get. She wasn't easy to get. Hina tajtamiru, at the time of ijtimar, right, at the time of putting the fragrance on herself. Hina tajtamiru. Takadu min thiql al-ardaf. And then he continues description. He says, so this is an example of like what basically is supposed to be a stray woman there, and they put the bakhur under the dress, and it kind of makes the whole body smell nice. So takadu min thiqliha, and he's saying that she is so big, in other words, her upper thighs, buttock area, that takadu min thiqliha, almost kada yakadu, it actually means something that almost is about to happen. In other words, it was almost as though it was about to. Takadu min thiqliha tanbatiru, that her upper thighs were about to tear and break open, because, so like you can imagine, if she's got big thighs and big buttocks and she's trying to get up, she's going to find it very kind of difficult, and it's as though it's going to burst, like imagine a balloon that's filled with water and it just kind of bursts. So تكاد من ثقل الأرداف, due to the heavy buttocks, تكاد, she almost تنبتر, that's the khabar, right? إن نهضت إلى الصلاة, if she got up for salat, بعيد البصر, when she was slightly far from the water wasn't there, so she had to get up to get the water. Yeah, so to go towards the water, so the body kind of movements that would take place there. He's saying that, it was as though it was like that. And then finally the last part, تجلو بمسواكها غرا. So تجلو, with her miswak, she makes apparent, she makes clear, غرا, whiteness, beautiful whiteness, مفلجة, so غر, مفلجة, teeth that have gaps in there, كأنها أقهوان, as though the teeth are أقهوان, like this flower which has these kind of white petals, like nicely all sequenced right next to each other, but they have slight gaps in between. So like the uqwan shafahu matar, where the rain makes it clear. So like imagine rain falling on it, and then this rain, it basically kind of makes those petals so nice and clean. So her teeth are like that, right? So he's done a lot of description here, as you can see, but the main thing to kind of get from this is the words that he's using and the expressions that he's using, right? So the meanings behind all of that are very important to understand the culture at that time, understand, how they used to do things. So for example, you've learnt over here things like people used to move and go to different places. You've learnt that, when people used to travel, they used to travel all together. We've learnt things like, hiding love as well, having this love that's hidden. It was a common thing at that time. And like we said, the body shapes as well, and certain figures, and then describing her like the moon. This is also something which is things that Arabs used to do. And then the teeth, the description of the teeth, and so forth. So anyway, I hope you guys have benefited from this. Jazakumullah khair. And patrons, thank you very much for all your support. I know you guys can hear fireworks in the background. There's some fireworks going on outside, and unfortunately I can't edit that from the videos. So at least some people are enjoying themselves. And if you guys want to become patrons as well, then check out the link in the description. You guys becoming patrons helps my channel, helps me a lot make more videos. Thank you very much, and assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you very much guys for watching this video, and again thank you to all my patrons as well for all your support. Jazakumullah khair, may Allah reward you immensely. If you guys want to become a patron, then links in the description below. Jazakumullah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.